Hello everyone and welcome to an electric version of the small luxurious SUV. It's Swedish, or as I like to call it as Swedish because of its offering. It's affordable considering that it's a luxurious SUV, but essentially it's eco-friendly, it's sustainable, and it is really fast at the same time, which is this Volvo EX30. So this EX30 is freshly designed. I say fresh because it's very different looking than the usual Volvo design language, and in a good way, because this looks really good. And the reason I say it's sustainable because it's not just an EV, but also the materials that have been used all across on the car, they are also the recycled ones. I'm going to come to that once we go across and come around those materials on this car. So this EX30 is offered in 3 different trims: Core, Plus and Ultra. Whereas the Core comes with the rear wheel drive single motor, the Plus and the Ultra can be customized to rear wheel drive or an all wheel drive, and the particular variant that I'm reviewing is the Ultra all wheel drive, where it's got 2 electric motors, one in the front and one in the back. And check out this new color on this, which is like this light blue shade, really nice looking one on this. And as I said, the design language is really fresh on this. And then let's begin first with these headlights. So the hammerhead headlights are continued even on this EX30. The bits on the inside and on the edge, they are the DRLs, and those are the LED DRLs, and the same ones convert into the turn signals, whereas the bits here are the main headlight cluster, and then they extend into the side along with this Volvo badging out here in chrome and black. So no grill because it's an EV. There's just small bit of opening at the bottom because it does need some cooling because of the air conditioning and the batteries and stuff, and then normal plastic all across out here at the bottom. Even on the other side there's normal plastic, and then these functional vents, really big ones. Air goes in and then helps with the aerodynamics. And underneath this hood, because there is no engine, so let's open up that, and there is a storage provided too. So let's pull this twice, open up, and then we have this storage out here, which is about 7 liters, so you can store your charging cables. And also there is a cool bit of design on this too, so there is also art included on the car itself. So it's a very artistic car too, even in the back once we go into the trunk, more on that too. And there's also a camera for the active and the passive safety systems and the adaptive cruise control. And then we move on to the side. So this Ultra variant comes as it is, like how you see. There's only one optional extra, and that is the wheels. So these wheels are the 20-inch wheels in this design, and they are the dual tone ones. So the middle bit is like glossy plastic, and the edges around that is like in gray color. And not just that, the plastic bit that you see, that's like plastic on top of that. There's also a Volvo badging here, and the Core variant comes with the 19-inch wheels, whereas this comes with the 20-inch wheels. And then there are these skirtings at the bottom sides, really thick ones given too. And then is this arch here. I really like this arch because it just looks very seamless in terms of its design, and look how it nicely merges everywhere. There's no interruption in that in terms of the flow of the design. And when we come to these side mirrors, these are glossy black side mirrors. They are power foldable, power adjustable. They have some blind spot warning inside them, and also the turn signals on the inside, and one of the cameras from the 360-degree camera system. Even in the rear, gentle lines that follow the EX30 badging on the side, in the back, and then this black color roof, because it comes with the fixed panoramic roof, and it's got the dual tone color. So the top side is glossy black, whereas the bottom side is the color, whatever color options you choose. Now in terms of the doors, so only one door is the keyless entry door, but here are things that get interesting from this point. So you get these two fobs, one is the car and a fob. So what this car does is there is like this symbol out here, so you tap on that, something like Tesla, so you can open and close the car using that. But what does this fob do is like it's used for the smart keyless entry, so it charges itself every single time. So if you leave this in your pocket and you walk towards the car or walk away from the car, it will automatically lock the car. Then you may think, what's the problem in that? The thing is that this thing keeps discharging, so every now and then you have to keep charging this, and that happens whenever you're driving the car and you keep it inside. So like a while back this thing stopped working, so then I have to use this card to open and close the car. And then because it's only from here, only on this side, you cannot use it on the other side to tap and open the door. So yeah, that's just the problem here. Now once we move on to the rear, again really stylish design, and you have this split tail lights, and they are completely in LED, and the main brake lights are out here, the turn signals are here, and there's this glossy black strips, and they connect the tail lights on either side, and then again a small bit of glossy black spoiler. And in terms of the visibility, it's actually pretty restricted, because if there are passengers sitting in the rear, then yeah, it can get difficult to have a visibility in the back. And also it's very upper level visibility, because if you look at it from the side, yeah, the rear glass like tends to start from here, and then just is very narrow in terms of the length. And then there is this Volvo badging in chrome, the EX30 badging in chrome, and then again a very simple design at the bottom in normal plastic, and then the underside of the car is completely covered because it's an EV, to make it more aerodynamically efficient. And in order to open the trunk, you press this button out here and open the trunk. Now there are scuff plates provided in the back and also on this bumper too, so that you don't damage your paint, which is this light blue color. And there's also this trunk separator that can be removed too, but when the rear seats are folded up, you can put 318 liters of luggage in the back, which is slightly smaller compared to a lot of SUVs. And underneath this sits the charging cable, which is an 11 kilowatt charger, so which is decently capable that way. There are also charging points given on either side. There is also a 12-volt power socket and a trunk light provided, and the rear seats can be folded. But look at this, there's also this helpful chart provided which says, will it fit, and then it gives you dimensions of all the things that can fit inside the car, or if you have to move the seats and all of that stuff. Very clever. And then if you want to remove this trunk separator, remove it and then leave it on the floor. Now in order to fold down the rear seats, they are foldable in a ratio of 60:40. So there are buttons provided here, you press them and fold them down. It's not electronically, so you have to give them a push. So when the rear seats are folded down, you can put 904 liters of luggage. Again, that's also pretty small, but the reason being that first, it's a small SUV and the floor is also raised up because of the battery pack being at the bottom, but nonetheless you still can use this much of space. The floor itself is pretty flat, so there is no step or anything in the back. Now in terms of the charging and the battery capacity, so the charging port is provided on the rear left side, and it's AC and DC capable, so you can charge it using both or with the portable charger, home charger that's been provided on this too. So this is a cool trick, because if you only want to use the AC charger, you can just remove this one cover and then let the other one be covered. And in terms of the details, so there are two electric motors, one in the rear and one in the front, and there is a 69 kilowatt hour battery pack, and the usable one is 65 kilowatt hour. And in terms of the charging, it's got a capability to plug to a 175 kilowatt charger maximum, and if you plug to that one, then you can charge this car in between 26.5 to 27 minutes, and if it's slower than that, then the charging times would vary from like 1 hour, 2 hour. And if you plug it to like an AC charger, so which is from like 6 amperes to 24 amperes or 12 amperes, I'm going to put all the details on the screen so that you can have a look at that. And then again, the charging times also vary a lot in terms of how it charges, because it's definitely in hours if you plug this thing to an AC charger. But the battery pack is still like a 64 kilowatt hours, so that is still going to be faster to charge it because of its smaller capacity. Now let's jump into the inside and then let's see the materials. So beginning first with the door cards and also the material quality eventually on the inside. Look at this, it really looks minimalist and stylish and also luxurious at the same time. I don't know how Volvo has managed to do that, but it really looks futuristic. And if you observe, a lot of things are missing out here. I'm going to come to that too. So let's first begin with the material quality. As I said, a lot of recyclable materials are used on this, and essentially all these plastic materials that you see out here, the dashboard, continuing everywhere, yeah, they are used from the door cards, the discarded door cards. They are recycled and used. And then at the bottom there is just this like normal plastic, but I wouldn't complain because it's genuinely like effort put into making it a sustainable product, so which is a good thing. This feels like a granite, the texture on that, and then these cool looking door handles, and then you pull them to open it. And then if you notice this floating armrest out here, and inside again light blue material that's covered, and it's soft again. And if you're wondering where the buttons are for the windows, then those are out here. Now that's one of the first problems on this car. So one of the first, because the first one that I showed you was the locking and unlocking. So the next one is this. So in order to open the windows, it's from here. And not just that, if you want to open the rear, you press this button. It's like a touch button, it becomes orange, and then you can open the rear from here. Now that's the problem out here. And then the next one is the lock and unlock buttons that are given out here. So very minimalist, buttonless approach for sure. And one more thing is the exterior lights that's controlled from this screen, not just the lights itself, driver's display, the infotainment screen, air conditioning controls, all of them sit out here. So first the exterior lights, like you want to switch it on and off, the rear fog lights, headlight adjustment, everything is done from here. Yeah, so it's just too much of layering that's been done. Only the upper and dipper and the turn stock that's been provided here, whereas even for the wipers, the rear and the front, yeah, they are controlled from here on the stock itself. And then is this gear shifter, so it's like a stock again on the sides, reverse, neutral, drive, and then into the parking. So that's how you use it. But I like how these air conditioning vents are merged into the dashboard. So stylish, looks really nice in terms of its design. You really have to see this car in person. And then there are also these mood lights that are provided out here in the dashboard, in the door cards, in the footwell, out here at the bottom, and all those can be changed again from this screen. You go into the ambient, and then the off. Even if you leave it off, the lights just stay on. Then the next option is the forest path. Then the next option is the archipelago, and then the midsummer, the Nordic twilight, and the northern lights. So you have like about 5 options to choose from, or you can just leave it off completely. And then the other thing to mention is that because there is no driver's display, but instead there is just this camera and the sensor option, so that constantly monitors your face and your body language and making sure that you're not tired while you're driving, and it becomes too much after a while because there is a lot going on, and it keeps constantly throwing the warnings. Like even if you look on the sides, then it detects that you're looking on the side and tells you out here on the screen on the top that you have to pay attention or you're tired, and yeah, lots of things like that. And then let me just first finish with the material qualities. You have these dual tone material on the seat itself, leather and the fabric mixture. Then there is this Swedish flag on every car that you get, the Volvo ones. And then one more thing to mention is the frameless side mirrors. Look at that, like there is literally no bezel. Look at that on the other side. So it's really cool to see that in action too. And in terms of the other material quality, at the bottom there is just like normal plastic, the one that you found on the door cards at the bottom side, and then this handrest which is made like from this suede kind of material. Even out here this armrest feels soft touch too, and then glossy plastics here, and then leather covered steering also, which is flat bottom on both the sides. So let's begin first with the driver's display, because there is none here but only these sensors that monitor you for the adaptive cruise control, because it's also got the Pro Pilot Assist. So that sits on the top side of this infotainment screen. So it's divided into 3 sections: top for driver's display, infotainment screen, and the air conditioning. So this essentially just is as it is. It does not change in terms of its design or anything. So just that this information would disappear if I put the car in drive, and then it becomes different. So now it shows you the speed, and then yeah, it would keep beeping also for a bit. Now it would quieten down, and then it shows you the range and the battery percentage and the gears you are in, and also the warnings or anything, and also some important warnings to pay attention and all that that comes here. So yeah, that's how it remains as a driver's display out here. Now when we come to the steering, so this is a leather covered steering. It's flat bottom on both the sides. It's got Volvo badging and like chrome rings around that, and then again minimalist approach to that also. So the buttons on either side are multifunctional that ways, like you can customize them also in many ways. So on the right side the buttons are for the media controls, but if you want to change the side mirrors, like you want to adjust the angle, then you press this mirror option, and as you can see you have to use these buttons to adjust the mirrors, and then you can fold the mirrors also from here. Yeah, that's the thing about if you want to go minimalist, and then yeah, you have to put all the options inside this screen, and as a result of that a lot of options and features are dependent on this screen functioning at all point of time. And on the left side there are buttons provided for the adaptive cruise control and also the Pro Pilot Assist, and this button at the bottom that can be customized because it also comes with the one pedal drive. But the thing is there are no paddle shifters or anything, so you cannot set any levels, but just the standard one pedal drive. Even from here that you can press on screen by going into the vehicle, you can activate the one pedal drive, and it's not very harsh and in a good way because it doesn't suddenly brake, but it's very gentle with its approach, and at the end you still have to use the brake pedal to brake and stop the car. And this steering wheel is manually adjustable, which is tilt and telescopic, so you can adjust, and then the sensors that are built on that, they also move together because obviously they have to keep an eye out on you to keep you safe inside the car. When we come to the air conditioning, so you get dual zone air conditioning system on this EX30 Ultra variant, and in terms of the functioning, so the controls sit at the bottom out here just like the other Volvos, where it sits on the screen itself, and you go inside and then you can see some more details like how to change the temperature on either side for the driver and the passenger, and then there's also the heated seat options for the driver and the passenger. You can switch that on from here, and the heated steering wheel option, again that's also on the inside, so 3 levels to that too, and then more detailed changes that you can do by pressing that fan button, and then you can leave it at auto or manual or climate off, and then set the flow of air in whatever directions, maximum air conditioning, defroster, rear, front, recirculate air, eco air conditioning, AC. And if you're wondering where to change the fan speed, it's here, like this slidable bar, and then it also shows you on-screen animation showing the air quality on the inside, and then you can even go into the air quality here and it shows you what's the air quality on the inside, and then the timer, so you can have these parking comfort features and all of that on, so it switches on the air conditioning at any point. And then you can even download the Volvo EX30 app and control basically all this functions like locking, unlocking the car, and then switching on the heater, cooler, all of that things, climate control, all of that can happen using that application, because the system itself has the 5G connectivity and a modem on board, so it's also got its own set of internet and everything, so you can stay connected to the car at any point of time. But that's, yeah, how you use the air conditioning. Again, that's also from inside this screen. And once we come to the infotainment screen, so this is a 12.5-inch infotainment screen, and then I feel like once they've used the bottom side and the top side, it becomes somewhere around 10 inches or maybe 9 inches of usable space out here. And then the main screen features these maps, because it also functions on Google's Android operating system, and if you notice, it's showing me right now 4G and like the bar connectivity with the location services. So essentially it's like a tablet out here, and the Google Maps are inbuilt, so not a problem. These quick options at the bottom for phone connectivity and the radio, and then more options that sit at the bottom. They are more like the fixed ones, or whichever you open, they update out here. So phone, Bluetooth, YouTube Music, camera, 360-degree cameras that come on this, and you can select any one from here. It also comes with the rear assist braking, then the assistance, which is the Google Assistant, and then the trunk to open, max flow, and then this glove box button. So you press that and the glove box opens from here. So there's only one glove box storage it's been provided, not out here. So the main options that start within are from here. You press this and then you can see the Bluetooth, media, radio. So in terms of the connectivity, you can connect to this infotainment system using Bluetooth, USB, and there is wireless Apple CarPlay, and then all these options which are like the Apple CarPlay, Google Maps, and then if you're parked and you want to entertain yourself, you can open the YouTube also, because it's got its own internet package and everything. Search for all of that, and then you can even use the YouTube Music, it's been provided, or get more apps if you want to download, or from the Play Store too. And then this volume option, so that's again slider, but yeah, it's, you have to press it and then use the plus and minus button. And then the detail options are inside this vehicle options. You go inside, and then the first option is the quick controls, the first screen that you saw before that I showed you, for the ambient lights, mirrors, exterior lights, rain sensitivity, glove box, trunk, one pedal drive, all these lane keep assist and all of that. And then it shows you car status, then the trip information on the inside. I was looking for this for a while, where was it, because usually it's out here. It shows you while you're not driving the information, but not when you're driving. And then the detail options are here in the settings, where you go into the driving. Now there is a performance mode that's been provided at the bottom for the all-wheel drive, and there are also more dedicated driving modes too, but this one has the pilot assist and then the speed limiter if you like using the speed limit, adapt to speed limit, then the one pedal drive, steering wheel, soft, medium and firm. If you like to change the nature of the steering, because it's got electronic steering, so that can be changed from here. So if you want sporty setup, go to firm, then hill descent, and then lane keep aid and traction control and everything. We go back and then into the controls, and then here are the car modes. So car wash mode prepares the car for a car wash. So yeah, it would fold away, recirculate air and everything. Tow mode, and then there is also the parking comfort. And then in terms of the towing mode, so this car can tow up to 900 kilograms, and if you're planning to put something on the roof, then it's about 75 kilograms. And then we go into the parking comfort, make comfort features available when parked, and then this is where you turn off the car, because there is no dedicated on and off button. So the moment you enter inside this car, it switches on, and the moment you walk away from the car, it switches off. So yeah, all that is just cleverly handled by the car. Lights, display, mirrors, locks, steering wheel controls, glove box, trunk and opening, and then the sound system. So there are 9 speaker Harman Kardon surround sound system. It sounds incredible on the inside, especially with the build quality. Yeah, it sounds really good. And then you can set the quantum logic and whatnot on the inside, equalizer, and then the connectivity for Bluetooth, and also the Wi-Fi option. The charging, you can set the charging times, you want it to 90%, customize it, limit charging current, and then set the schedule also. So you can plug this car if you have benefits of cheaper electricity at night, then you can use that too. Then the profiles, privacy, Google, and the system has got language, units, date and time, and all of that, because it can even update itself through over the air updates. And then slide down from the top for any notifications, and then we come out into the main menu, and then there is this button for the parking lights. So yeah, again, that's also on screen. So make sure you don't damage this screen if you want all your functions to work properly, because otherwise it will be inaccessible from anywhere else. There is also this fixed panoramic roof that's been provided, but there are also covers, the manual ones, that you can put, and then you can install it by yourself. It's not provided on this car, but it is available, because during the summer days this thing can get hot and let a lot of heat on the inside. Then there are these extendable, they are not extendable, so just the normal sun visors, and then the SOS button has been provided for emergency, and then here is the parking button that's been provided on the top side. So there is an on screen also, and also on the roof that's been provided. Now in terms of the charging, so there is a wireless charger that's been provided out here underneath the infotainment screen, and then you open this door, and then it's also got a cutout. So it's got 2 USB type C ports provided in the front, as well as there are 2 more type C USB ports that are provided for the rear passenger also. And then you can close the door, remove the charging cable from here, and then let your phone charge up out here, or you can even put them at the bottom. Now in terms of the storage, so in the door cards, the door bins itself are quite big, so you can easily put like 1.5 liter worth of bottle. In fact, you can put maybe half a liter and 1.5 liter both out here. And then there is this huge storage out here. I really like this one because it's a floating armrest in the center, and then this huge space that you can utilize to put your phones, wallets and everything. And then this door out here, which is magnetic, so you hear that when you close it, so you open that, and then you can store things at the bottom and close it. It's also got division on the inside, and there's this glove box, so you open that, and then it's tiny one, not that big, just to store your wallets or maybe smaller books and stuff. And then there are these 2 flexible cup holders, but if you don't want to use them and use as a storage, then big storage can be opened up by sliding this behind. And these cup holders can also be folded inside, so if you just want 1 cup holder, you can do that too, or completely fold it inside, and it essentially opens up a huge space in the middle. So that's about it in terms of the storage. It's slightly restricted, but then there are places here and there where you can utilize the storage. Now when we come to these seats, so these are the light blue color seats, so they have this leather bit at the bottom, and then in the back there is this fabric material, really soft and nice. And these seats are very body hugging for sure, and they offer so much of support all across. And if you look at it from here, there is this decent side support here, and even in the backrest there is good amount of support. And these headrests are tall, even though they are slim, but they are soft, and this fabric makes it easier to use it irrespective of winters or summers, because they don't get hot or cold very easily. And these are the heated seats also in the front, and they offer ample of support underneath the thigh also, because they are quite long too. Now in terms of the adjustability, so again that's an interesting thing, because there is like this dial or a knob that's been provided. You push it in the front, back, or up and down, and then twist it to change the backrest, and there are buttons provided in the center. So you press that button and you can adjust on screen. So let me press these buttons and then show you what are things that you can adjust, and then again use the same dial to change. So lots of adjustment options are also possible in the front seat, and not just for the driver but also for the passenger also. Same set of options are provided. Let me press the button and show you. So this is for the passenger side. Yeah, that's how you can adjust all the variety of options. Now let's jump into the rear and show you the rear space, because even that is filled with a lot of premium grade materials. So first let's begin with the door cut. Now in the rear, the material quality is the same, soft touch material on the top side. This side face has this plastic recycled material, looks like granite, and then these fancy door handles, this floating handrest, and then some more storage on the inside with this light blue material, and again that's also soft, and then normal plastic out here. And the door cards you can put here also easily 1 liter worth of bottle, quite easy. And then we jump inside, and then the whole sense of luxury continues in the back too. So coming to these seats, they offer the same level of comfort, and it's just that the seats are sitting on the lower side to increase the headroom, because in terms of the knee room, there is just about enough, about 2 fingers worth of knee room. The headroom, yeah, that's slightly on the restricted side, because if you are sitting on the edge, then these pillars tend to hit the head, but if you are in the middle, then it's going to be easy, because you get this extra bit of space because of this glass on the top. There are also 3 headrests provided too, and you also sit quite low down into these seats. As a result of that, you miss a bit of under thigh support also, and because the floor is raised, because the batteries are sitting at the bottom, and there is not much step or anything, it's actually pretty flat. And then look at this extension of the storage. The whole center is completely hollow, so it utilizes all of that storage. And then you can even remove this tray, I don't know, to put more things, and then or increase the storage here. So yeah, multiple possibilities in terms of the storage options provided. And the seat, again, they are the same dual material, leather and the fabric material. Even on the headrest there is fabric material, and they are very soft and comfortable in the back. It's a good thing, because yeah, because the way you're sitting in the back, it's slightly like the space is lesser, so these comfortable seats make sure that yeah, you don't complain about that. And they offer good amount of support on the sides as well as on the bottom. They are more on the flatter side instead of the front seats, which had like good side support, and I get it because adults are going to be using it. So 3 adults possibly can yeah use these seats, but yeah, 3 is going to be a tight fit. And if you sit in the middle, the bottom side is soft, but the back, backrest is on the firmer side. There is no hand rest or anything, but still slightly on the firmer side. And there are also these pocket storage in the driver and the passenger side seat on the back side. And again, look at the controls for opening the windows in the rear. They are also provided for the rear passengers, but yeah, here's how you open these windows from here, and then these 2 type C USB ports. But yes, it's slightly on the restricted side, the space in the rear, but if you don't have passenger in the front seat, then you can push that seat further and then have lots of space in the back. But nonetheless, it still delivers you the same level of luxury and comfort even in the rear seats. So this EX30 Ultra variant comes with two electric motors, one in the front and one in the back, and combined they produce 422 horsepower and 400 pound-feet of torque, and there is no gearbox, but because of the two electric motors it gets the ability of the all-wheel drive. And to do this, like a rocket, it can fly, and especially with this tiny size it can really pick up. And the ones that come with just the rear wheel drive, so that produces 263 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque, or 253 pound-feet of torque, but that's just essentially the rear wheel drive models. Now in terms of the power delivery, electric cars are the best at delivering instant torque at like within no time. So that's the advantage of that. And the thrills you get, yes, those are really fun. And there is also a battery pack which is 65 kilowatt hour. It's 69 kilowatt hour, but the usable one is that much. But yes, as a car, yes, it is exciting to drive because it can give you these occasional thrills also. And there's not much to change in terms of how it responds, because there are not many driving modes. So you can just, or there is like a special performance mode, so you switch that on and it can just fly off. In terms of the efficiency, so within the city it's doing better because it's an EV, so you drive slow. That's what EVs love. So it was gonna deliver anywhere between 13.5 to 13.6 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers, whereas on the highways it manages to deliver between 15.2 to 15.5 kilowatt hour per 100 kilometers. Now if you average it out, it comes to somewhere between 14.5, and if you divide it, then it's showing me a range of somewhere around 422 kilometers, and I've calculated and it's still showing me 420 kilometers that I can achieve with the current driving habits. And the claimed from this battery pack is 402 kilometers, so definitely it's well within the claimed figures. Also depends on how you drive also, because if you drive like like this, then it's not going to do that well. Now there's also the regenerative braking that's available on this. There's also the one pedal drive that's offered, and it's very easy to use also. And just as I said, that you have to brake at the end of that one pedal drive, because it wouldn't come to a complete stop at higher speeds. Now when we come to the suspensions, they are on the stiffer side, and that is to do with the fact that there is like the battery pack and it's heavier, but it's sitting low, so it's all right. But it's still at higher cornering speeds you do feel the roll, but still it's kept within the permissible limits, so you're not going to be terrified it's going to roll suddenly or something. But yes, it's pretty planted in that sense. A stiffer setup makes sure it does that, but these seats are comfortable, so your journeys are not going to be terrible. It's going to be much more luxurious and comfortable. Now when you come to the steering, so it's an electronic steering, and it's the ability to change it from soft to medium to firm levels gives you the option. I've currently kept it in the firm, and it's got good feedback. The dynamics on this car are really good, is what I want to appreciate, because even though it's an electric, it does not feel like it's a heavy car that you're driving around. It's very light, athletic, and the steering is very responsive. It's got very small turning radius also, and it responds pretty well and gives good amount of feedback. Also, it's going to feel light. It's going to feel light. It's not going to feel like very responsive also, but just that it's calibrated very well. But if you keep it in the soft, it does feel very disconnected sometimes. That's the only thing. Now when we come to the brakes, so there are 4-disc brakes, and if you use one pedal drive, then you will still use the brake pedal. And the brake pedal, I've found it to be slightly on the softer side, because it has a long travel and it's got the softness. So it's you really have to press the pedal to be able to brake if in case you have to suddenly do that. So yeah, that's the only thing, the calibration needs to be done, but when it's on one pedal it functions pretty well. Now when we come to the noise and the vibration, so there's a bit of noise from these tires, and in terms of the wind whooshing, that's all right. There is some amount of noise at higher speeds from around the front glass, and apart from that, yeah, it's an EV, but still it's a quiet place, because for an EV it's very difficult. There's no engine sound to cut any of that outer external sound or disturbances, so that way it's pretty good. Now in terms of the build quality, it's actually pretty good so far. Like everything seems to be done quite well, so it's gonna hopefully hold along very well. Now when we come to the safety system, so there are 11 airbags, 2 for the front driver and the passenger, 2 side airbags again for the driver and the passenger. Then there are 6 airbags, curtain airbags, and there is also a side impact airbag in the driver's side seat in case of the side impact it would blow up. Then there is child isofix points in both the rear seats, and there is a brilliant 360-degree camera system. Really like the output from that. You can select different views also, and also the 360 view from that can be selected. And apart from that, there is also the safety systems, like where it keeps a track of how you're driving, monitors you, which is a bit too much, as I said. Like, yeah, it keeps constantly heckling me, like, you are tired, or maybe you're not looking on the front. So yeah, all of that. And then there is the blind spot warning, the adaptive cruise control with pro pilot assist, the lane keep assist, lane departure warning, front and the rear collision warnings, pedestrian warnings, the rear brake assist. So all of that, the rear brake assist, it's function also sometimes where I missed the oncoming traffic and it would just suddenly brake the car. So yeah, all that functions pretty well out here. Now when we come to the pricing, so the base variant, which is the core, comes in at 57,283 Canadian dollars, whereas the plus variant comes at 3,200 to that for the rear wheel drive, another 3,000 for the all wheel drive, and if you opt for this ultra variant all wheel drive, then this thing comes at $63,600, because the $1,500 are for the optional rims that are fitted on this. So in terms of the pricing, I feel it's a great option for a luxury car, because this is a different kind of experience. It's a minimalist experience. I get it. Sometimes it's a bit too much, because there is a lot of options that are inside this screen, and my only concern is if this screen stops working, then I really don't know what you can do about that, because all the functions, literally everything, even the lights, headlights and everything works from this screen. So there is a lot riding on this screen itself. So I hope it lasts good enough, and just don't throw something on this screen. I don't know why would you, but don't throw and break this screen. Just make sure you protect this screen with all your life. But otherwise, yes, I like this minimalist approach. It's very futuristic. It looks stylish. The materials used, all of that, you don't feel like it's recycled once. So it's really nice use of materials and quality that's been offered on the inside. You genuinely feel the luxury on the inside. It looks very good. In fact, this infotainment screen is also powered by Qualcomm's Snapdragon, so the chipset that's been provided, that's why it's like very snappy. It's really one of the fastest infotainment system, even though it's so heavily loaded, but very good. Yes, but yes, some of the ergonomics, yeah, like the ease of use, yeah, it can improve on that. But otherwise, as a car offered at this price as a luxury variant, is going to be very good. Like if you find fast chargers, yeah, your life is going to be very easy, or if you have a home charger. And one more thing is that because there is so much new system that's incorporated now, because all these options are within the screen, so you have to unlearn all the things that you have learned over the past about how to function and operate a car, and then relearn this entire system. That's the thing. If you're young, then this is going to be easy, but if you're old like me, then yeah, it takes a little while to just understand where everything is, and while on the move you have to operate all those options. So, and plus this driver's display that I have to constantly look on the side and not, it's not there on the center. Even if there was a heads up display, then that would have been easier, because then the speed is right in front of me. So yeah, all of this takes a little while to get used to, but definitely yes, it's worth considering because it's fresh, it's stylish, and it's luxurious, and you should definitely check this car out. Anyways, that's pretty much it for this video. Thank you for watching this video, and make sure to subscribe to this channel by pressing that red subscription button. Leave all the notifications on, and also press the thumbs up button if you like this video. I shall see you in the next video. Bye bye, take care, and drive safe. Last burst.